liberalism that you talk about, Michael, when you say there's a lot of liberalism within the left today, I would not call it that. So the identitarian stuff that you talk about, the narrowness, that is not an ideological hangover of liberalism. That is a very, very active set of people pushing their material interests. The left in the United States is fundamentally and overwhelmingly a middle class formation. It's the first left globally, historically, that has no connection to the working class, to the poor at all. People complain that the left is white. Bullshit. That's a second. The left has those non-whites who are in the American left are all middle class too. It's disproportionately white, but it's all middle class, regardless of its color. In that setting, when you're only bringing in middle class people into your organization, a big chunk of them are going to say, we don't want to hear about poverty. We don't want to hear about the economy. What we want to know is, when we walk into a room, why are we not treated well? When we apply for the salaried positions at six figures that we think we have a right to, why do we get 5% less than the other guys? That's what the middle class on the left wants to hear about. It will dress it up in all sorts of historically powerful language and all that. But Adolf Reed has been saying this for a while, and it's only because he's in America that people think this is controversial. In the rest of the world, what Adolf says is just common sense, which is this is a form of nationalist politics. And all nationalist politics has one or the other class character. Either it's a nationalism that's wrapped around the needs of the poor, or it's a nationalism that's wrapped around the needs of the aspiring, emerging elite within the dominated groups. Identity politics is the class instinct of Black, brown, and Asian, yellow, whatever you want to call them, people, and the women. It's not an ideological hangover. It is a very committed and clear set of material interests. And as long as the left remains in the middle class, it will never get out of it.
Welcome to another episode of RBN Live Tuesdays. I'm starting out as your host. I'm CJ, but everybody will be joining very soon. Nick will be joining in a few minutes, 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes or so, and then everybody else at the top of the hour, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Now, there's a lot of stories to get through. And if you watch some of our RBN lives, we are so passionate about, and we have everybody we have people who came together everybody has their own podcast, so we can do this by ourselves. So everybody's strong. Because of that, we don't get a lot of our topics. We don't get to some of our topics, and we have to push. And we see that a lot in the Nick and CJ show also. So sometimes I start a little early just to make sure we include some topics, and then there's so that's what we're doing. Anyway, let's talk about these topics that I just mentioned. So let's throw the graphic up here. So the graphic is kind of a hoshmosh, or what is it? A mashup of different topics here. But the main topic, can the United States left disagree without being disagreeable? And the reason for this question is because of a recent article by Vijay Prasad on Counterpunch, and this is actually the exact title. You can see it here. And published today. So going to be talking about that. Let's put the graphic back up and go over some more other topics. So there's that. That's why you kind of see Sam Sear. That's why you kind of see Jank. But then Andrew Cuomo is back. It has the audacity. He interviewed Sean Penn about the Ukraine war and posted it on Twitter and is getting demolished. Then there's Rashida Tlaib, who sort of illustrates, one of her tweets illustrates how what the left does, actually what both parties do, but the left in particular, when they know the other party has a control of the House specifically, that's when they be more radical publicly. Oh, let's do this, or for this. And Rashida Tlaib says she's going to be writing a bill or submitting a bill or something like that. So we'll cover that. Let's see what else we got here. Then we have Twitter files. Wow, I forgot about that. Twitter files number 7. And this one is specifically about the Hunter Biden files. So we're going to cover that. Jamal Bowman is on there because he's part of why he's the same reason why Jank and Sam Cedar's on there. They go with the broader question of disagreeable without being disagree without being disagreeable. And some of you already asked the same question I asked. And let me go to the chat right now. I thought I saw a comment. Okay, here it goes. This is it right here. This is the one I saw. Thought it was the first comment, but it's not. But being disagreeable to evil people means we are doing good. If we're agreeable to evil people, chances are we are also doing evil. That's sort of my tweet. That's sort of what I say in my tweet. And let me actually put that up here now. So you saw how the intro video was connected. I told you why, which is Vijay Prasad's article, why this topic sort of came up. Now let's go to my tweet when I saw it. When was it this morning? I woke up this morning to use a restroom. So it was 3:25 a.m. my time. And I saw this article and I was like, what? Because this is right up my alley and what I usually cover on RBN. Is this progressive strategy, this idea of joining, getting change or things through the Democratic Party. That's usually my alley, and I feel like this is that. So this is what my tweet says. So it kind of in line with that first comment. Let me blow it up a little bit here. I like it to be very large. All right. Depends on what is meant by left. Because Bill Clinton says he's left. Barack Obama says they're left. So, I mean, we would clarify what exactly is left. So, if the left includes reformists who are also advocates of imperialism, no. And that's what I was meaning. It speaks to the comment that I put up by Jennifer. Because I view imperialism as that evil, the evil people. And then I go on to say it also depends on what is meant by disagree. If by disagree you mean strike breaker versus non-strike breaker, hell no. So I would see this as more as disagree, as in, let me scroll down to the headline. I would see this more as disagree, like, what could be an example? I don't even know what could be an example. Like somebody said, I don't think we should defund the police, but I think we should severely cut back on funding the police. So, for example, they're not saying take this money and give it to some other program. They're just saying take this money so the state saves money or taxpayers save money. They're just saying that. Let's say there's a person saying that. I mean, they're saying cut police. They're not saying they want to get rid of them. So that is the disagreement. But we agree on a lot of other things. That's somebody that, if it's another worker, we should be able to say that's a disagreement that we can live with. And we should be able to disagree and not be disagreeable. I don't know if that's a really good example. Tell me in the comments if you think I can give another example if you think that's not I did read the article. And the article, I mean, we can read it. The article, he goes into more of him talking about the zero COVID policy and the reaction he got from that. So that's what he started with. But I'm taking the question from the article and I'm running with it for my own topic. So I'm not talking necessarily about what the article says. Now, at the end, it does make a reference to, like, being disagreeable where it leads to, and what being agreeable where it leads to. That, I mean, that could be relatable to how I'm using it, but the bulk of the article is about something that I'm not going to be talking about today. So yes, Rick, I did read the article. Is Rome here? Somebody yeah, I think Rome will be. Oh yeah, Rome is here. Let's see. Hey, mofos want echo chamber, not movement. Yes, Rome. And I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure Rome was gonna be here because I didn't see your comment. I saw somebody talking to you. JB, yeah, his stream ends in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so. So they'll be joining soon, but Nick will be joining very soon. But this is the topic I wanted to fit in because we got a lot of other topics. Did I cover all the other topics we have here? Make sure I covered all the topics. Shoot, gotta go to here. Gotta go to Rockfin. Shout out to everybody watching on Rockfin. Can the left disagree without being disagreeable? Andrew Cuomo is back. Oh, here's the one I was missing. Eric Adams and immigrants. I'm just gonna leave it there. I don't want to give away the story. Twitter files. You may know the story, but if you don't, I don't want to give it away. Then Twitter files number 7. So now I've completed the amount of stories we actually have today. Awesome. All right. Let me save that now. All right. So let's get back. So let's go to a couple comments here. VJ is thumbs up. Yeah, he was here for the for our anti-imperialist move summit. So VJ has been on RBN before. Not being afraid, being unliked is a virtue. Not being afraid of being unliked is a virtue. Yeah, it feels like I was born with that gene. Sometimes I say this all the time to people, not all the time, but in discussions I've told people, like, that has never been a desire of mine. Like, I never go, I'm doing this so that people like me. In fact, sometimes you not liking me sort of fuels me. So I'm completely fine with people not liking me. I don't mind that. I think there's on Rumble, but more for uploads. Oh, they're okay. You're talking to each other. Sorry, they're talking amongst themselves. Disagreeable to whom? The way the question in the article was, he's saying, yeah, just what it says. Can the left? So how I take this question, and we'll get to some other comments and some introduction, but how I take the question is that the reason there's disagreement is because we're talking about reformists and revolutionists working together. And that's where the friction is. We're talking about reformists, which is largely the professional managerial class, and revolutionists, which is largely the working class, with some class traders sprinkled in. So VJ makes the point in the article, so I'll use this point because it's relevant here, that there's contradictions. And let me actually go to that and get the actual quote, because that particular quote does apply here. Yeah. So let me find the quote here. Oh. Does it work? Oh, this one. Contradiction. Okay, there we go. How many do we got? Make sure I go to the top and spot the first one. Here we go. So we'll read it here. Thank you. Fine. History. Let me read this sentence here. Let's blow it up some more. So it's really large as I read this. History is a bundle of contradictions. Social policies is fraught with difficult choices. To believe that history is a sequence of questions with one pure answer is erroneous, and it creates a fratricidal culture in the left. So I'm one of those people that look up words. So we're gonna pause here because I can assume what the word is, and I do have a pretty good assumption of what that is. Cidal, I know what that is, and fractal, I know, but I want to see what the actual meaning is here. So relating to or denoting conflict with a single family or organization. So I guess it's let me make sure I say it the right way. Fratricidal. So that is the correct way. Relating to or denoting conflict within a single family or organization. So now let's go back to the article. History is a bundle of contradictions. So how I'm taking this is that the point is, and I'm applying it not to his article, I'm applying it to the broader question I'm answering. History is a bundle of contradictions. Yes. So history is the best indication of the future. So history is a bundle. So yes, there's going to be a lot of contradictions. And those contradictions may produce different viewpoints on the same side, team, organization. But for the most part, there's a lot of agreement, and that's where we have to decide what is left. Because if we're talking about, now I'm going to use media as an example because that's how we can think in terms and use specific people. Should I give the example first? So yeah. So let's answer this question. So let's take TYT, let's take Majority Report, let's take us, Jimmy Dore and Convo Couch. Is there a lot of overlapping policy with RBN, Jimmy Dore, and Convo Couch? Yes. Is there differences? Yes. I'm sure all of you who watch us will know. Is there overlapping? Is there a lot of overlapping policy agreement with the other people I mentioned? TYT, Majority Report, Human Report. Yes. But is there overlapping with those three groups together as 6 groups? There is not. Is there overlapping in war? So that would mean I would think so that to me that would mean this doesn't apply to typically what we talk about when we're saying being agreeable. So let me rephrase it. So being agreeable doesn't apply in this situation if we're talking about Convo Couch, RBN, and Jimmy Dore. There's not a lot of overlapping besides maybe domestic. So you're talking minimum wage, all the more I'm not even going to phrase it. I don't want to give it a name. So Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage, money out of politics, all that stuff. But we diverge on what in my estimation, are the larger issues, the larger implication issues, and that is probably the military and war. That's probably one of the larger ones. But you can't talk military and war without talking climate. They go hand in hand. The U.S. military is the largest polluter in human history. So again, I don't think the question applies to these two groups. It may apply to Convo Couch, RBN, and Jimmy Dore. The differences we have, the question, how to disagree and be, how to not, can Convo Couch, RBN, and Jimmy Dore disagree without being disagreeable? Absolutely we can, and we've already been doing it. And can the other reformist group disagree without being disagreeable? Absolutely. And that's what they're doing. Some are more further left on certain things than others. Some of them supported force of vote and some of them did not. But they're still that didn't make them disagreeable for the most part. But so those separate groups, yes. Together, no. And that's Nick in the background. So join whenever you're ready. So let me now kind of pivot to a couple of headlines. Now I'm going to try the sharing the screen part a little different. I'm going to try to share my entire screen because I got a bunch of articles to share. I don't know how it's going to look, so maybe I should look at it on my phone here because I'm afraid it doesn't look right. So, all right, so let's go here first. So let's go to our article. Let me see how this looks here. Make sure I'm doing this right. Sorry, everybody. All right, so no, I'm not doing this right. Hold on 1 second. Okay. All righty then. Let's do it the regular way that I know. I have to ask Nick how to do that because he does it sometimes. I know. But anyway, let's now go to some articles. People who support stuff like this. Democrat Socialists of America scramble to defend its role in imposing rail contracts. Can we disagree and be without being disagreeable in this situation? I would say no, because this is the striker, the strike breaker versus the non-strike breaker. So in this instance, the answer to that question would be no. We cannot disagree without being disagreeable in this situation. So let's go to the next where is it? The next headline, and I'm just going to do them one at a time. One at a time. We'll go down the line. That's better. The pro-imperialist pseudo-left backs U.S. NATO war against Russia. This is one of those other things. Now, is this a big thing? Is this one of those things where, yes, we can disagree without being disagreeable? No. And this goes back to the example I was saying where you have the two groups. You have TYT Majority Report, Humanist Report. I think the question more applies to those groups, that group together. Can they disagree without being disagreeable? Yes. But can reformists, that's really the question we're asking, can reformists and revolutionaries disagree without being disagreeable? And that's the question I'm not quite sure about. And this article is one of the points that I'm trying to make. What's up, Nick?
What's poppin', CJ? What's poppin', my friends, my family?
Let's take this down for a second.
I have arrived, my friends. I think JB joined us as well. I was watching your segment. I don't want to interrupt too much. I think it's a good conversation because it's something that been an ongoing theme of RBN, right? Where's the actual line?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Where's the line? And it's something that I deal with because I worked on the Berry campaign. I was friends with a lot of people in the progressive movement. I organized with Sunrise, right? But there's a point where I'm like, okay, this movement is going off the rails. And do you play nice just so you can go along, feel along, and not cause a ruckus, or do you say something?
Right.
Do you try to change course? And it was during this time when I realized how civility politics is weaponized against activists, weaponized against people calling out the organizations that rely on a top-down structure. And I'm like, okay, I'm done with that shit. Like the Ukraine war, hard line, hard line. Your guys' votes are directly responsible for a military-industrial complex. Boom.
Yeah, let me throw that back up there just as you're talking. Keep going. I'm gonna just throw that up there.
Yeah. So I want you to continue. We can go through the rest of this article.
Yeah.
As well.
So I'm just gonna show some more headlines. Go ahead.
There's a psyop as well, and I'll pass right to you, CJ, where the elected left, the Bernie Sanders left, there's an active psyop where they are trying to get people not to care about foreign policy. And they try to make it seem like if you bring that up and you care and you have war crimes and the crimes against humanity that the United States empire is guilty of, if that's your litmus test, you've been unreasonable. And I remember this during the Hillary Clinton days, right? Where I'll vote for Joe Biden 16, vote for Hawkins in 2020. And when you bring up what Hillary Clinton did to Haiti, for example, you bring the crime, like they're like, oh no, not that big of a deal. What is the big deal then? Because I won't vote for a Republican for this reason, X reason, right? That same reason applies to Democrats. This is the argument I kept making, especially regarding Jim Crow Joe. And now we're seeing the Democratic Party shift to the right. So a lot of people have been led off a cliff. A lot of people decided to go down with the ship and shift to the right. And that was a lot of the suburban element within the movement that was largely dominant, and they had a lot of say and sway. But a lot of those people, you guys see, we covered quite a few of them. They're going down with the ship. They're not adjusting. The people who are more privileged, the privileged organizers, they rather continue to organize within the Democratic Party, and that's why we consider ourselves post-duopoly leftists, because this shit's not going to fly with us, right? Supporting war, supporting the prison industrial complex, and supporting this capitalist party, this big farmer-friendly party is a no-go for us. But go, CJ. I want you to finish because
absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing to me, why I think the line has to be drawn is people who push the culture war. Like, if we're saying as leftists, we unite workers, and then you have people pushing a culture war to divide workers, like that has to be a line. I can't understand how that can't be a line. Or maybe there is, and I just haven't heard the right explanation to clarify that for me. But it just seems like that should be one of the lines, is that you shouldn't be actively trying to divide workers. That's to me. So, but let's continue with this. Here's another headline. Oh, where did I go here? Hang on a second, Nick. I lost it right here. Why Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is in the same party as Joe Biden. And I'm just going to scroll all the way down and read this part that I have here. They talk about Jacobin. They talk about DSA. It's not good. Let me just say that. But let me start with this part. The DSA itself, from its inception, has existed as an auxiliary arm of the Democratic Party with no serious pretension to independence. This is how you were, I'm going to pause here. This is what you were speaking to, or we talked about entryism. They accused Shama of that, and that's exactly their whole outfit. That's their whole sort of structure. As the auxiliary arm, as this article says, and I'll continue. So the predecessor organization of DSA, the Democratic Socialist Organizing Committee, emerged out of a split within the Socialist Party of America in 1972. Michael Harrison was the founder of both the DSA in 1982 and its predecessor organization. Harrison's early political training came in the 1950s as a leader of the Young Socialist League, the youth organization of the Independent Socialist League, led by Max. I don't know how to say that name, but I'll say Skachman. Skachman has split from the Socialist Worker Party, the pioneer party of American Trotskyism, in the 1940s, leading a petty bourgeoisie opposition opposed to the defense of the Soviet Union's against imperialism. I think that's a very, very good point, historical point, and I just wanted to make that point with this article because there's other headlines I want to cover. One second here. I'm streaming literally right this second. All right. So my wife, I guess, forgot I was streaming right now. So anyway, it wasn't an emergency. She thought she didn't realize I wasn't streaming. Anyway, so let's go to the next one. All right. My apologies, everybody. Now here's another article right here. Ocasio-Cortez, Sanders, and DSA vote for war. So what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to act cordial with people who are funding imperialism, Nick? Is a question I have. Like, how is that supposed to go? And I think it's not supposed to go that way. And that's why, to me, I lean towards, I don't think Vijay Prasad was posing the question necessarily. I think he's posing it to people who are anti-war, people who are more not the pseudo left, but people who have more, like, if it was him and like Cornel West and like Margaret Kimberly who had disagreements. I don't think they're saying like Hillary Clinton and Margaret Kimberly if they had disagreements. If you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Here is the article of and I'll go back to the top here if you didn't see it, Nick. Can the left, and it just came out today, Counterpoint, can the left disagree without being disagreeable? By Vijay Prasad. Now, he's talking more about a situation that happened to him about zero COVID. He posted something, and he got this backlash, and this is what brought him to why is this whole crazy backlash about this? But I zeroed in on this part here because it applies to us in the conversation we're having about this, and that is, history is a bundle of contradictions. Social policy is fraught with difficult choices. To believe that history is a sequence of questions with one pure answer is erroneous, and it creates a I just looked this word up and I just forgot how to pronounce it. Fratricidal culture in the left, basically a culture of problems, conflict. And which is what we have if we're talking about the left, as in people who still support the NATO left, people who still support the Democratic Party. Like, if we're still talking about that, because let's zero in on this part, Nick, and I want to ask this to you, because there isn't a pure answer when he says to believe history is the sequence. Let me back up a little bit, Nick, because what Jank and Sam would do by reading this, they would go, see, you guys, it's not just one answer. You guys are purists. This is what they would say by reading this. You guys are purists. You see, he's saying, why are you being purists? It's erroneous and it creates conflict. And what I'm saying is, I don't believe that VJ is applying things like war to a disagreement. What say you to something like that?
Yeah, because I think when you look at most leftists, especially around the world, they see being anti-U.S. empire, they see being anti-capitalism as the entry point. So they look at us with amazing amount of confusion when they look at us, we have neoliberals, we have liberals, we have people who are Western chauvinists, people who push war and U.S. talking points, and then they look at us appalled that we consider some of these people leftists.
It's like mashup of just a bunch of people, because you are a lot more in tune into international views. So you're telling me they view us as pretty much a clown show.
Yeah,
like we're a clown show.
DSA is way too open tent. So I think what this article is getting at, and what I would agree with, is that and this is the kind of policy I have. You guys see, I want to have conversations with as many people who are anti-imperialists. I have a lot of different anti-capitalist voice I listen to, because even if you have different takes, if you're getting those two things right, I want to work with you. Like, those are leftists who disagree with each other. If you are a leftist and you are pro NATO, are you a leftist? Is that a leftist disagreement, or are we just talking about two sides of the Overton window clashing on issues, right? And there are a lot of people who are liberals who think that we are being petty in our disagreements, CJ. But they on the other side, if you watch their channel, they're doing Zelensky propaganda segments every few days. They are they apologize. Like, once again, Cal Kalinske, who's not even full shit lib on this issue, because he said he will cut the aid at some point. He was like, yeah, I think we should send them at least about 60 billion, but once they went 60 billion, they went too far. For us, it's like, no funding Nazis, period. That seems different.
Yeah.
That's and when you have disagreements with people where there are large overlapping agreements, like you mentioned the Cabo Cows, Jimmy is another one. When you look at Aaron Mate, the Gray Zone people, when you look at Danny Hypham, Maury Kimberly, a lot of the friends of the show that you see, Anthony Mene, he's going to join on Friday as well. Dan Cohen, Wyatt Reed. You guys know what all these people have in common? They pretty damn anti-war. You guys see, we don't have a lot of pro-war voices on. Like, oh man, can't believe we disagree about the Iraq War. That's cool though.
Right.
Small disagreement. It's not like Crystal or Siger shit. So it depends what you mean left infighting. Because go ahead, CJ.
No, I was just gonna say I'm so glad you inserted that part, because I really wanted to jump out ahead of this article, because I felt like they actually could use this to say, see, you guys are crazy. Look at Vijay Prasad. Look what he's saying. You guys are creating all of these conflicts on the left, and I'm trying to illustrate. I don't think he's applying. What he's talking about is differences on COVID policy, is what he's talking about in this article. Differences on COVID policy. He just simply posted something and he got attacked. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think people should give grace, because people fucking panicked during COVID. But yeah, and let's go to another issue. Let's say and I've seen these people exist, guys, in order to defend AOC and Bernie being weak on Julian Assange. I see progressives who like, oh well, I think Julian Assange did nefarious things and helped Trump win the election. This is what, like, the Cenk Uygur people who and Crystal, they changed their stance recently. I don't want to misrepresent their position, but it was not too long ago we had Crystal and Siger repeating anti-Julian Assange talking points, and then they changed their position because they took a lot of pressure from anti-establishment, free speech activists who support their show. So there are a lot of people who get this question wrong. So if you're a leftist, if you're a progressive, and you support the Biden administration in the United States persecuting Julian Assange, is that small disagreement? Now, there's been a lot of bridge burning over COVID in the COVID culture war. I was pretty loud on where I stood on, like, we was against the mandates and all that, but I believe people should give people more grace, considering how crazy of an event that was.
This is such a good example.
There was so much misinformation. The people were terrified. And CJ, this is a frustration that we bring up on this show all the time. It's like, guys, people are drawing the line in the sand and ending relationships, ending anti-imperialist movements over the COVID issue. We see it all the time. I'm like, I don't think that shit. Me personally, maybe you guys, I want to see if you guys got some pushback in the comments, but I always thought.
No, this is my opinion. I think COVID is a good example. I'm so happy you brought this up. I think COVID is a good example where when we answering the question that Vijay Prasad poses, can the left disagree without being disagreeable? COVID is one of the things. There's people who we've had on this network, Nick, who we knew had different views about COVID, and nothing happened. We came here and we had this conversation about something else.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say any names. I'm not gonna say, but you guys be surprised.
Yeah, me either. I'm not gonna say any names.
I talked to and who had disagreements, but I'm like, not a big deal, man. I feel like these are issues that we should be able to talk out. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's up, JB?
What's up, JB?
Think about that. This is a crazy ass pandemic. The government is lying to us. Like, science, like, there's a lot of and there's a lot of people always forget. There's a lot of shady shit that go on in science. And I'm not saying that I am a very scientifically minded person, but it's literally a fact that the FDA lied to us. The Food Drug Administration had lied to us for decades about cigarettes, about nutrition, about so many things. So we like if you're actually smart, you looking at every single scientific opinion, any person who's an expert, and there should be a heavy debate on issues, especially something like a pandemic. And what I didn't like is people was like super quick to shut down any debate, and if someone in it on the other side of the debate as you, people immediately cancel. No conversation. Oh, you're a big pharma simp. Oh, you're an anti-vaxxer who want people dead. That was ridiculous to me, right? But we talking about disagree. I know JB probably like, what the fuck y'all talking about?
Yeah, I could get you caught up.
JB, what's poppin'? How your show go? We get you caught up here soon. How your show went?
It was good. I actually did a reaction video to a viewer of ours. They did a video called Force to Primary, and they were basically referring to building up a channel so that they could elect somebody to run in the Democratic primary in order to beat Joe Biden, because they said that a Democrat has not primaried a sitting president in over 40 years. And so while I admire the person's enthusiasm as wanting to change the system in that way, I don't necessarily agree with going through the Democratic Party. And the tactic that was aimed to be used is similar to what the tactic is used in Socialist Alternative, except for they don't go through any particular party, they go independent. And so because of that, they choose who they want, and it's not up to the person whether they want to run, it's that it's call to action to that person to run. And so while some of the method I agree with, I don't necessarily agree with going through the Democratic Party. Another thing I talked about on my channel was that there was an article that came out back in 2012 where it actually talked about compassionate people actually have lower amounts of empathy than those of us who are poorer. And they actually did a study talking about this. So I actually talked about that article, which I found very interesting. But it actually tells us a lot about what's going on now. And we see that with the oligarchs and the billionaire class that are constantly trying to accumulate more and more, while they look at us and say, just pull yourself up in your bootstraps. And then the final story that I did was actually talking about how the junior ROTC is actually being forced upon our kids in this nation. Kids actually are being forced to join these ROTC classes in high school in order for them to be more sympathetic to the military, which goes in line with the actual fact that the military is actually seeing some of its lowest recruitment rates in the country. And so now they're trying to force children, our children, into considering military service, really just being forced into the military industrial complex. And might I add, by the way, that these forcings of kids into junior ROTC are largely in poor and Black and brown neighborhoods across the country. So this just goes to show that this is going on, and this is an epidemic that I said on my program that we are this close to going back to a draft. Right now, it's just pushing the propaganda in front of kids' faces right now, but we will have a draft soon as this continues because they just want to keep this going. So that's all on my channel.
This is what I said, I think it was last stream or stream before that. The number one people who are grooming kids is the military industrial complex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
You guys realize that? So all talk about groomers, those are the people who are lying to your kids. Those are the people who want your kids' dead bodies in order to funnel money to the weapon defense contractor. So the biggest people who are guilty of that, and also police are too, because now police are infiltrating schools. They're trying to turn young kids to class traitors at an early age. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny, but it is funny and it is true too, Nubian. The biggest people who are victim of, like, if you don't get to your kids first, the government will, and they'll teach your kids a bunch of bullshit. If you don't teach your kids the evil of capitalism, your kid gonna become a Pete Buttigieg real quick. You're gonna have a Kamala Harris kid real quick. If you guys don't get the reference, their parents
Cackling all the way.
The problem with Pete Buttigieg's dad and the problem with Kamala Harris's father is that they fucked up and let the capitalist education system get to Buttigieg and Kamala first. You can't let that happen.
Don't let your kid turn into a cackling rat.
Oh Lord, JB went there. Hey, so let's do our announcements, and then we'll briefly finish that last topic we just did, and start on some of the other topics. Nick, I was thinking if you wanted to lead the Eric Adams segment, because I know you
we
like
can talk some shit about Eric
attacking.
Adams. Also,
I know you like attacking Eric Adams and whatever other story you had. Sure.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the CIA as well. I don't know if you guys saw it, but we had some documents that leaked. We had Aaron Good that was on the show yesterday. Last week he was hyping up to me. I was like, oh shit, if Aaron talking about, I know something about drugs. So we had some documents that come out. It was like the CIA just nonchalantly admitted to killing that JFK, and the media was like, not a big deal. We're not gonna talk about it. Like this big revelation. You had Lee Harvey Oswald. The CIA knew about this guy, and he had connections with the guy. And the CIA have been fighting for years to block this. And to be honest, it's one of them things that came out where we were like, kind of knew it already. It's like one thing where the conspiracy theorist was right once again. And then the term conspiracy theorist was created in order to gaslight the American public because people knew something was up about the JFK murder. You guys know that's when they first invented the term?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. Anyway, I'm
Lord. Yo.
Go ahead, Debbie.
Yo, Michael Ferretti talked about this. Parenti was all up on. Look, let me tell you something.
He covered CIA all the time. Really good stuff.
Yo, chapter 3 of his book, he talks about. Chapter 3 is called "Phobia and Reality Conspiracy." It says JFK assassination part 1, and then he does part 2, and he goes into detail about the whole thing behind Lee Harvey Oswald and how he was just a pawn in the entire thing. And come on, man, y'all got to peep the game. And plus, CJ, Nick, how many years have the black community have been talking about? Oh man, the man got him. That was who it was. We called him the man, but you knew who the man was.
Yeah, CJ. So we in it. So hopefully y'all mind. We about to jump in it. We are in the conversation. I want you guys.
Yeah. You mean we can start the topic? I thought we was already going. I thought we was Yeah, I thought we was already in it. I mean, I can shout out a couple of things if you want. Yeah, we're at 140 likes.
We're gonna talk.
Yeah, I can do that. So if you need some time, for sure, I can do that. So let's subscribe to our Substack. If you're just getting here, 50 minutes in, but it's because we started early. We're really 10 minutes into the regular show. We're only 10 minutes into the regular show. So if you just got here 10 minutes into the regular show, but 50 minutes in since I've been here, like the stream, but also join our Substack, because if you want to get access to our Discord, if you want to get notifications when we go live in our clips, we now have an editor. Erin is great. So you see, we get clips out. Literally, she's trying to do like 3 to 4 every single day.
It's fantastic.
So if you want to know what our content is coming out and you want to get that, and hey, I can't check out the 2.5 hour stream. It's going to be like that today because I started early. I can't do the 2 hour stream, but thanks for that 20-minute clip. If you want those notifications, join our Substack. And also if you want to join our Discord. Now we're at 27,167 subscribers. And I looked at our analytics yesterday, Nick. Do you know Nick and JB, do you know that 20%, about 19, a little more than 19% of our viewers aren't even our subscribers? So if those people just subscribe to us, that would jump our viewers up by a lot. By a lot, yes. Like we consistently have just just visitors watching us, and it's a good chunk. It's not like 5%. It's 19 point something percent of our. So our views are like 80% of our subscribers, and then the rest is just visitors. So subscribe if you're watching and you're not subscribed. We know that you're here because I checked the analytics yesterday.
Yeah.
Also, like the stream. We're at 318 people. Can we push to 275? 275. Go ahead, JB.
Hey, that 20% of people, you love us. You love us. What look, let me ask you this. What drastic change in your life is going to happen if you hit subscribe? Look, if you subscribe, all your wildest dreams will come true. Look at the smile on CJ's face. Look at that. You want to see that all the time? I want to see CJ smile. Look, for just one subscriber.
You want to see Rome?
Just one. Look, if you want to see Rome smile, look, Rome got that beautiful bright smile. Look, got teeth like chiclets. Let me say, if you want to see them teeth, look, just subscribe. Just click it.
It could be that too. It could be that too.
Right quick. Yeah.
Out of that 20%, how many of those people are like TYT fans or Sam Cedar fans or just seeing?
Oh, that's who they are. Oh, that's
like,
Anna. That's
like
Anna.
if they're Bernie AOC fans, Joe Biden voters, just watch our shit.
I'm gonna start welcoming the show. I'm gonna say, welcome Emma, Jank, and Anna, and Sam. Welcome everybody who aren't subscribing, but you're here watching.
I took down one button for y'all. So y'all can see a little bit more.
I'm glad we got Roman. I'm glad we got Roman for this next story. We gonna rip on the CIA. What's popping, brother? What's popping?
What's good, y'all? I had some time today. I was just on Jose.
Yeah, Roman busy as fuck, man. I'm proud of you, brother. Proud of you.
I'm trying to get some people down
tell the people what you've been doing, man. Cause I've been seeing all your posts on Twitter.
Oh shit. Well, I just got back from Flint, but right now I've been focusing on the library, trying to scope out how much everything is really going to cost me. So it's really looking more than what I expected, but it is what it is. I'm gonna find a way to make it work, whatnot. But I'm getting that together, and I'm buying more tools for the garden. But that's all I've been doing for the last couple of days, trying to relax, recoup, and then I'll be heading out to Oakland, California, late February.
Oh, that's a year. You was here because I remember my wife's birthday's in February. That's how I know you were here February, because my wife's birthday's in February, and we had to schedule around that when you were here. So let's get to the story. We're at 300 people watching. Let's push to 275. That's like 100 more likes. Can we get 100 more likes, everybody? Rome is in the house. JB's in the house. Nick and CJ's here. We're only missing the queen, Sabby. Shout out to Sabby. Make sure you check out her stream tonight. And as I go to comments, and Nick is gonna start the stream or start the segment in just a second. Give him a second here. Yeah. But let's go to some Oh, Tom Hartman. Yeah. Now this is the person. Where's that Tom Hartman comment? I just saw it right here. Tom Hartman, everybody, is the one how I came through. I didn't come through the jank worlds. I didn't come to the jank offspring to get to the left. I came through Tom Hartman. I forget the other ladies. It was another person's name. But this is how I began to learn more about the left. And Tom Hartman is just off the rails right now. But this comment, Tom Hartman will say,
isn't he? He was
yes,
a big rusticator.
Yeah, Tom Hartman will say it was the Miami drug lords. He is he's not recognizable. He's like David Pacman, an older version of David Pacman. That is literally what he is. But Nick, whenever you're ready, sir.
Let's go. I'm glad we got Rome for the story too. And I'm asking you guys a question because you guys search my tweets. I've been doing segments on this ever since I started in independent media. What is the argument against abolishing the CIA at this point? And we just had a quick conversation about this new information about the CIA killing JFK. But this is important because there are people who are institutionalists, right? They are the by-the-book suburb people, right? No matter how much evidence you show these motherfuckers, unless it's on the books, they won't believe you. So the fact that this is on the books That we know the connection between the CIA and Lee Harvey Oswald now. Like, this is now overwhelming evidence. Now we see mainstream media outlets covering this because Biden released the secret JFK files. Aaron Good was speaking on that before, but I like to laugh and I love to have conversations with conservatives who are oftentimes very misguided in their politics. For example, they will say, "Oh, look at Nick, he's a big government socialist. You big government socialist." What does that mean? What does that mean? A lot of people don't understand the relationship between state and government, right? So my position is that I want to abolish the CIA. I want to shrink the military industrial complex. I want to get rid of the FBI. I want to get rid of TSA. I want to get rid of DHS, which includes ICE. Meanwhile, the small government conservatives, they cheer these things on.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you guys talking about? What are you talking about? And I love having conversations with conservatives about this because they understand what causes mistrust in government is the relationship between state power, the people in the proletariat, and how the government functions, not government itself. Why did people not trust the vaccines? Because they believed that Big Pharma was lying to them for profit. Why are people mistrustful of the wars, which is a good thing, but why do people mistrust it? Because they believe that our oligarchs are lying to people for profit. And now what does this mean? This means that people mistrust the actions of the government because capital has more power than the government. Do you guys understand? When capital has more power than the government, you believe that all the actions that the government is taking is on behalf of capital, not the people, which causes mistrust. So people didn't trust the vaccine because they believed that the establishment and Big Pharma was lying to people for profit, and the government was willing to go along with it. Why? Because capital owns the government. Why do people are mistrustful of war? Why do people mistrustful of the police? Because they know capital is making decisions on behalf of the government. So what socialists, what Marxists advocate for is how about we control the motherfucker? How about there is no institution that is stronger than the dictatorship of the proletariat? Do you guys understand that concept?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone want to chime in? I went kind of off the rails. I want to get back to this guy. Go ahead, JB.
I want to kind of jump on your point. So in Dirty Truth by Michael Parenti, he actually talks about the movie JFK. I'm not sure if you guys saw that movie come out in the 90s. It was a movie by Oliver Stone, but it actually chronicles the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and it basically alluded to that it wasn't just some lone gunman, that it was actually government conspiracy to assassinate him. And it comes to, and that's what Parenti was talking about. If you don't mind, there's a paragraph that I want to read real quick that actually goes into line with what you said, Nick. And I think you're going to start nodding your head when I start reading. So
it's Parenti, so I'll have to.
Yeah. It says, sociologist David Simone compiled a study of the books published on the Kennedy assassination, some 600 titles, and found that 20% of them blamed either a lone assassin or the mafia or the Cubans or Russians. The other 80% ascribed the assassination to a conspiracy linked to U.S. intelligence agencies. Some of these also said that mobsters were involved at the operational level. Ignoring this 80% of the literature, publications like the New York Times and the Washington Post have listed the various theories about the JFK assassination as follows. A, lone assassin. B, mafia. C, Cubans, Soviets. And D, the Oliver Stone movie theory. In other words, they ignore the existence of a vast literature from which the movie is derived and describe the critical theme presented within the film solely to the imagination of a filmmaker. The press would have us believe that the notion of a state-sponsored assassin conspiracy and cover-up came out of a movie, when actually the movie was based on a rich and revealing investigative literature, meaning even the New York Times and the Washington Post were in on it and going, oh, well, that really didn't happen. And Oliver Stone making a movie based on the facts, well, that's just a theory by a filmmaker, when really they were the ones that were complicit in covering it up.
Well, see, you guys get content like that all the time on my brother JB's Font channel. Make sure you guys subscribe. Michael Prenti, a lot of great theory on there. So this is great news because now we got something that's solid. I'm gonna show you guys this, and we're gonna dive into this here very soon. But I want to center this story around the conversation of abolishing the CIA, because the reason why I explain that Marxism, socialism, what we are advocating for, is more democratic than capitalism, because we demand our institutions to have a mandate that serves the people. Correct? So we have a national healthcare system, and that's what we believe is worthwhile because that's something that serves the people. The CIA has long since lost their mandate. What is the mandate that they have? Are they protecting or serving anyone? The same goes to the FBI. What is your report card? Report your progress. Imagine you guys had a job and you don't have to require any, you have to show any progress that you're doing your job whatsoever. That's the CIA and FBI. The FBI literally causes more terrorism than they solve. They solve their own plots. Now, this is what we're going to cover. The new documents shed light on the CIA's connection to Lee Harvey Oswald. And this is extremely significant because the CIA to this day denies this. Denies that they knew this guy. And when you scroll through the documents, they knew exactly who this guy was. And the best case interpretation of this is that they knew he was going to do it and allowed him to. And that's the best case, if you want to reach that conclusion, right? I'll just read the first paragraph, and I've got some more receipts to show you guys on the premise of why we must abolish the CIA. And imagine the person, and I am legitimately interested in this person who disagrees with me. If you're a working class person who's like, no, Nick, I think we should keep the CIA. We are looking at the biggest class traitor of all time. If they are a member of the working class, there is no reason for anyone who's a working class person, especially if you're black, brown, indigenous, there is no reason for anyone to support the CIA. They said they unearthed proof of his assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, was involved in an operation by the CIA mere months before the killing. Once again, this is something that they denied. Now, this reignited questions about whether Oswald was truly alone in his decision to kill the youngest president ever. So I want to show you this video from Mike Pompeo, because this is to continue the argument about the CIA. This is him just straight up admitting what the current mandate for the CIA is. You want to hear it? What he did as a CIA agent?
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the
Who are these psychopaths
Clapping.
that are cheering this guy? We lied with cheating, stole. Oh my God, so brave. How brainwashed are the American people? Like, if you think North Korean people are brainwashed? You think Russian people are brainwashed? You think Chinese people? You think Saudi Arabian and Iranian people are brainwashed compared to Americans? You guys see this shit? Let's watch it again. Watch it again. Watch them cheer this psychopathic shit on.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses.
Now that's a group of capitalists there. That's like, because they're not working class people wherever the fuck this is, right? So they captains of industry, the management class. They see Mike Pompeo, a guy who climbs society, talking about who he lied, he cheated, he stole, and they're like, yes, we do the same every day. Yeah,
Let me paint the picture of the audience.
Go ahead.
And the only people who could do this, Michael Bloomberg, Jamie Dimon, those are the people that can sit back and go, we lied, we cheated, we steal. And they're going like this because we lied, to finish the sentence, we lied, we cheated, we steal, so that your companies can make money over in these other countries.
Yep.
That's the complete sentence. So that's the people. Yeah, you advocating for me. You got me some money. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's the audience. That's the audience that he's speaking to. The real people he's working for.
Yeah.
Or work for.
Yeah, well said, CJ.
Good job.
Feel free to interrupt anytime, guys. I've been waiting to rip on the CIA for a while now, and this is always fun. So this is Mike Pompeo. I mean,
we already know this is demonetized already. Just so you know, it's demonetized. This account is as soon as we start talking about it, it got demonetized.
We already fucked. Make sure you guys subscribe to our Patreon.
It's demonetized already.
Yeah, Revolutionary Black on Patreon. So let's watch this, and then I continue. I'm gonna show you guys some more receipts of the mandate the CIA currently serve.
It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
We lie, we cheat, we steal. Reminds you of the glory of the American experiment. Guys, let me saying it right in the open.
Now, we have to ask the question again, Nick. Considering who he's talking to, we are not seeing, when he says the American experience, is our understanding of that is not the same understanding of the audience that's listening to that, what he's saying. Definitely. The audience that's listening to that, when he said the American experience of capitalists running a fucking country and taking over the fucking world. That's the American experience they're talking about. Not us living the American dream. That's not what he's talking about. So don't confuse it.
Absolutely.
Well, let's look at how this country was founded. It was founded on lying, cheating, and stealing. They lied to the indigenous. They killed them. They stole their land. They stole us. So it's like they're kind of doing what their forefathers already did. Like the founding fathers was some of the biggest human traffickers you could ever imagine. And so guess what? What are they doing that has look, how you start is how you finish. How this country started is how it's now finishing. And that's basically what it's doing. And I'm just like, is anybody surprised? Like, they lie, cheat, and steal, just like do that in other countries. And guess what? They're going to do that too. Guess what? The people who basically are lying, stealing, and cheating us out of our surplus labor, that's what they're doing. This is how this country operates. Yep. And then, next thing you know, it's the American way. And yet, it's like, but you better not do it against the people who actually did it. You better not lie, steal, or cheat against the people who actually lie, steal, and cheat on a mass scale. Because then if you do it, then we got to lock you up.
Appreciate the super chat, Frank. I think for $9.99, and I'll get back to the video. The 60s were filled with government-sponsored assassinations. We still have people thinking America doesn't kill its own people. Oh, sweet summer children.
I heard somebody say that on the stream, Nick. They obviously watched. Somebody said a version of that the other day. I was watching. I'm not gonna say. I'll say it off camera. I'll tell you what it is. They said that. Yeah, I saw them.
Guys, watch their coverage.
They didn't say the summer part. They said,
guys, watch their coverage of foreign affairs. They imply it. They imply it all the time. They say stuff like this. They're like, Putin kills people. Like, what do you think our government does? So it's implied in their coverage of other events. Where they say, oh my God, Putin is a murderous thug.
Do you think? Now think about that, Nick, because isn't it a saying, or there's a story or a wise tale or an urban legend where they say every president is brought in a room and the CIA tells them this is what's really going on. You stay in line or JFK is your exit. Have you heard that before? Have any of you heard? I've heard this urban legend similar of them. Because so do you think, Nick, in what you're saying and just JFK thing, do you think this is why a lot of presidents just don't There's
They
never
made
a
an
president
they
that
made an
goes
example of
rogue.
him.
There's never one that goes rogue that
They
says, you
blew
know
his
what?
brains.
Yeah, you know what?
They
Go
blew
ahead.
his brains out, and they had 1,000 angles of them doing it. They made an example of that boy. Like, don't ever speak out because it's the CIA, and they don't. And people was like, I had people say so many times, like, Nick, why did you ever consider running? Well, y'all niggas gonna get me killed because if I ran, I'm running on the boss of the CIA. Like, that's what, and we're getting killed. Like, that's what's gonna happen. No one touches that. I'm not even interested in any candidate unless they're talking about a boss in the CIA. That's where I'm at. Another one for Frank. It's also rumored that King survived a shot but was smothered at the hospital. Would not surprise me one bit. Did I shake some people about to survive? Well,
Hey.
Let me finish the video here real quick.
Yeah, go.
What are you about to say, JB?
No, I was just gonna say. Remember the movie Roll Bounce, where with Mike Epps' character, he said, "Son, don't mess with the Department of Sanitation, or you'll wind up dirty." I bet you just did that same shit to the president.
I'll finish the Pompeo video, and I'm gonna show you guys some more reasons why we're about CIA. This is them. We play from the beginning. I'll let it play all the way through because it's pretty infuriating video, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
You see how they said the goal of this was to eliminate communism? That's why they had to get involved in other countries. If capitalists were so confident that their system was worked, why would they have to do that? Why did they constantly interfere? Just something I want you
It's
guys.
because they know. It's because they know. They know. Nick, they know capitalists are Marxists. You think they ain't read that book up and down and know every tenet? They know the critique. They understand it is spot on, and they see the unrest. This is why they have to be in our DMs and all of our social media and know what we're saying. They are definitely afraid that we have arrived at the juncture or the fork in the road that is spelled out by the Communist Manifesto. They are definitely afraid, Nick. We see it in the military. You see it in the military. You see what they're doing with China. Is China China's Communist Party? Come on, man. They see this. Look what communism or a country that is aspiring to be communist, because they're not communist, but a country that's aspiring to be communist, they have a communist party. Look what they're delivering to the world versus capitalism, Nick.
Absolutely.
And JB and Rome. Look what this. They're forgiving debt. What debt trap does Africa under? When they're forgiving billions of dollars.
They gave more loans too.
It's absurd. But this is why the CIA has to be here. There's no other way for capitalism to survive unless they are controlling the narrative, unless they are killing people, killing other countries, refusing socialism to rise up. That is no other way, because if it sprouts up, people are going to go, wait a minute, why the fuck aren't we doing that shit? Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, we almost done. I'll pass to the panel.
Yeah.
If you just listening, it's pretty much at the end of the video talking about how thousands of people were killed by the CIA. That's pretty much the end of the video. I want to, Ron JB, have any other thoughts? I want to show just a few other receipts. CIA. Go ahead, guys. I'm gonna get you guys in.
I had this comment start because I wanted to. So we were speaking about the assassination of JFK, and it's basically like, okay, y'all telling us something that we already know. You're only telling us this because you can't be held responsible. Just like the same shit that you're trying to do with the big pharma data and whatnot. They try to hold it back until everybody is, till it's 2070 or whatever. Them niggas be dead and gone, out of power, out of the country, et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like it's just we all knew. It's good to confirm the news, but we should already know. And just like you guys have said, just for the fact that we don't even have, not even presidents, we don't have senators or representatives go rogue and just say all the shit is a sham. These people actually controlling the government. They threatening our lives. They got blackmail. Like nobody ever does that, and we know it's because of people like the CIA. It's because of the people like the FBI. Because of people that will actually murder your ass, have no conscience, and will actually do it. But yeah, the president is just the face of the operation. They are running the operation. They tell the president, go out there, smile, wave. Yeah. All right, now sign that bill for me. Yeah.
I mean, they did name his entire cabinet. Do you understand who's really running this shit? They tell you who you're appointing.
Yeah.
You think Obama's attorney general? Oh, he picked just the black guy. No, he was told this is the person you're putting in.
So you had this bombshell that revealed that the CIA lied about the connection with Oswald, and this is documents, and this story explains this is something that the CIA wanted to hide, and they pushed to hide it for years, and this is only being released because of the Biden administration order release of all documents related to JFK assassination, and they commented there. They said, why would they want to hide that? Because it's embarrassing. No, not just embarrassing. It's pretty damning too. This is a serious claim and has profound implications for the official story. And this is what everyone is saying. Like, if these documents pretty much say everything the CIA told you, the entire official narrative falls apart because of this. And the mainstream media is dead silent. This tweet, and this one got like 60,000 likes. They said, I like how over the weekend it was basically confirmed the CIA killed JFK, but it was so unsurprising and common sense that we just kind of went, yeah, and moved on. I want to read this one from
who else let's ask ourselves that question. Who the fuck had beef with the president like that back then? Who wanted JFK head? Who had the most?
Something with labor, some kind of labor stuff was going on. I remember his dad was running bootleg, and no, I don't know. I'm just naming all the stuff, and I'm letting you pick whatever you want. Yeah,
but
he was running money and all this other stuff, and then there was the mob and Lucky Luciano. All this stuff is supposedly connected, but it could just be CIA.
You worth more, we all from the streets, and I'm pretty sure we all the older niggas in debt. He ain't gonna shoot you because you owe him some money. He's gonna get it out of you one way or another. You worth more alive than dead, especially as the president of the United States of America. You know how much shit you can get across seas from me, across the ocean, drugs, etc., etc. We talking about big time blackmail here. I would just keep blackmailing JFK if that was
I think it was his when he was talking about ending the Fed.
Yeah,
and when he started questioning the power of the CIA, and a lot of people say it probably be smarter for them to leave him alive, but also think about what powerful message that's in. Like, if you ever mention the fucking CIA and the Fed again, you see what happened to JFK and his people. So I want to show this.
Then he gave this speech about Cuba. Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that the whole, I forgot who commented. I'm sorry, my brain just went. But when somebody said that there's no president who actually is willing to just come out and say all this stuff that's going on, they will put a president out there that makes you think that they're saying it, aka Trump, make you think that it's, oh, well, I'm uncovering the deep state, I'm uncovering all this, when really they're in league with them. They just want to make you think that they're not. So there's somebody that was a faux version of that, Trump, who tried to make you think that he was uncovering stuff and going to reveal all the deepest secrets of the United States. But really, he's in it just like the rest of them are,
Yeah,
and
there's
he's
no
not.
way Trump win that.
He ain't
Trump
say
didn't
shit that
want
we
that.
Yeah.
didn't already know.
Trump didn't want that fucking heat. That's why he caved to Julian Assange like a little fucking coward. And every
Yeah.
time he would say some shit like, "Y'all think we should pull out of this country?" Then the military generals didn't obey him, and he didn't fight him.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want that. He didn't want that heat.
Yeah.
He didn't want that heat. I want to read this to you. I want to give you guys thoughts. Feel free to interrupt anytime, guys, because it's more of a discussion segment anyway. So, just a thought says the confirmation of the CIA killing JFK doesn't instill fear in most people because deep down they already knew that the CIA killed dissidents. Like people knew deep down. Like I'm just glad that there's starting to become mainstream evidence, so the normie suburban mobs can have acknowledge it. But deep down, we all knew. But the reason why you don't see this being covered in mainstream media outlets and the liberal establishment and the two-party duopoly pushers, look at the last part here. They convinced themselves that they'd never be a dissident. So there's nothing they think to fear. So these are the people who go along with the Ukraine war. They go along with every single mainstream media psyop. And they're not calling for a boss in the CIA because they're like, I'm not really a dissident.
Could be the CIA themselves. The CIA is
yeah.
known to infiltrate media, so they could just be the
Yeah.
CIA. That's why, that's why the New York Times is not writing about it. That's not why the Washington Post. That's why they're not covering on CIA. You get what I'm saying? It's like because the CIA has infiltrated literally everything. They're everywhere because capitalists are dead. This is why it speaks to the point earlier, because capitalists know people don't want this. They know capitalists are only people that's reaping the benefits, and they know the workers are unhappy. They understand that. The capitalists, they try to act like they don't know. They understand that acutely. They understand that's what's going on. This is the reason why they have to be everywhere. This is the reason for the Patriot Act, why they have to be listening. It ain't listening for no fucking terrorism. They don't give a fuck if we kill each other. They don't care if we kill each other. They're listening to see what the fuck are we planning against them. That's what they're listening for.
CJ, I'm so happy you brought that up, brother. And this is why nigga CJ works so well, because you literally read my mind here, because this is what I'm going to bring up. Literally both your points, CJ. So this is the first point you made. The CIA used to infiltrate the media. This is how they used to feed false stories to people. Now the CIA is the media. And CJ, I know you do propaganda watch on Morning Joe too. How many times do they do this shit? We're going to talk about Ukraine. We're going to talk about foreign events. And now our guest, CIA analyst.
Yes.
Some jackass. Like, wait, you brought some dude from the CIA on? Like, they used to just bring reporters that would repeat their information. Now they got rid of the middleman. They just said, no, just bring the CIA guy on. Or they just have people who used to work for the CIA who's now anchor people. Or they like directly in, like, are they a producer?
Or they are in the Democratic Party.
Yep.
Like they're like literally they are everywhere.
Can't trust journalists. Look at Snowden. Look at Assange. You know, they get so good, they get so big, and then they see so much damage. They like, all right, I gotta do my job. And then once they do their job, they're like, all right, we gotta kill these niggas.
What is this story, Nick? The CIA used.
So this is to your first point, the fact that the CIA infiltrated the media, and this is written by a friend of the show, Caitlin Johnstone. Love her work, always writing great stuff. Yes. And you also mentioned how the CIA don't give a fuck about terrorism. They here to spy on us to watch protest groups, people who are dissenting toward the capitalist structure. And now this is from the ACLU. Earlier this year, newly declassified documents revealed the CIA has been secretly conducting massive surveillance programs that capture Americans' private information. Wouldn't you think this is story of the year? At least one of them that mainstream media will be covering, but they don't because the media is the CIA.
Yeah, like not if you're a CIA. If you're a CIA, you're like, hey, I already knew that like 6 months ago. I'm not reporting this bullshit. Like I already knew this.
In fact, they're like
of course,
yeah, great shit, man. Good guy.
Actually, you know what? I actually hold on. Let me see. I can't believe it's so funny. Look at this. Now this was for a previous story, And I just happened to just remember we're talking about the CIA, and look what I have. Is it here? Here? Hold on 1 second, guys. 1 second. Give me some grace.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Oh, right here. Okay. Because I have like 7. AOC funds CIA Democrats. This article literally talks about each one. It talks about each one and who they are. Look, so let me just give you an example. Beneficiaries of AOC's financial support include, everybody knows this, Splunkin, a former CIA agent, Connor Lamb, Marine captain and military prosecutor, Tom Malonwonsky of New Jersey,
Connor
and
Lamb just lost, I believe.
Yes.
Go ahead,
So this is a little older. So and Spanberg, I think she lost to CIA operations, but it just lists. Look at all these: Navy commander, Navy pilot. Like these are this is the CIA Democrats, and this is just part 1, and it talks about how AOC financially supported all of them. I can take it down.
Yeah, we covered that. We covered it at the time. AOC covers CIA Democrats. The Democratic Party is the party of the CIA. Like polls show that Democratic Party voters, they are more pro-CIA than the Republican voters now. And the party apparatus is full-fledged into the intelligence agencies now. Look, Ron, I think it was Ron. Was you about to chime in?
Oh no, I was just backing up your shit.
Yeah. So once again, there's no argument. I can wrap my statement with it. Just final thought that if you guys have, but there's no reason not to support abolishing the CIA. And I'm not interested in any motherfucking politician unless they wanted to call this out as well. Now you guys see, no one in the Justice Democrats, none of the progressive politicians was one to speak up on that, and that should have been a red sign, shouldn't it? Right? If you're willing to call it the CIA, I think you got some balls. I think that shows that you may not sell out so easily. But we see. And now there's another one. The CIA may be breeding Nazi terror in Ukraine. But the CIA not only spy on us, inflict harm on us, but they have been the chief operative source of destabilizing the world over the last century. Do you guys understand that? They take the most radical elements of a country and use that to turn against a socialist communist regime. And in this case, they want a more NATO-friendly state. So let's rile up the Nazis who wanted to fight the Eastern Ukrainians. And that is what they did. They trained them, and they became the force that eventually led to the Maidan coup, and the people in the Azov battalion that wanted to fight NATO to death. This is what the CIA does. So anyway, I want you guys' last thoughts, and any in the comments, any chat or comments you guys.
Yeah, I got it.
On the CIA
I'll let y'all go first, but I do have a thought on it. But if JB or Rome wanted to comment first, I'll let you go first. Okay. All right. So go ahead, JB. Go ahead.
No. I was just thinking, the whole thing about the CIA and how they operate really it's unnecessary. Like the necessity for them is out the window. From what we look at the other countries and what they're going through right now, they are basically trying to build a country based on the proletariat, having a dictatorship of the proletariat. So if they're doing that democratically, then there is no need for us to spread democracy because it's already abroad. So I see no reason for the CIA whatsoever. So
yeah, CIA, they're gonna have to go, but like a lot of cowards living in the U.S., they're gonna be afraid to actually, handle power or push on power. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sad to say it. A lot of people are going to turn against us because they are afraid of the hell that of the CIA and the FBI and what the government can do to us. So if they see people actually trying to abolish or targeting the CIA, they're going to join. They're going to join forces because a lot of people in America are cowards. Like, and if we wasn't cowards, the CIA wouldn't have the power that they have right now with all the knowledge that we have at the tips of our thumbs and whatnot. If we wasn't cowards, people wouldn't be overthrowing our labor laws and whatnot. So the CIA must go, but I don't see them going anywhere with so many people being so weak-hearted and afraid to actually tackle power, let alone call it out. I don't see nobody gunning down a CIA agent, let alone a police officer. You know, they won't even call them out for the injustice that they do on Twitter or Facebook. So
So my suggestion for you guys is to have fun with this one. Have fun with this one because I've been having fun with this one for quite some time, throwing it in the face of the conservatives, and we're seeing less and less of these. The Ronald Reagan neocon who love the institutions, knowing the CIA. Oh, you big government loving nanny state supporting. I am more for liberty, and I guys, I do this because I live in Missouri. I'm battling these motherfuckers my entire life. They pretend they're for liberty. They're the one who pretend they're for smart government, and I'm like, hear me, my communist ass, who is for more liberty and freedom than you are. I am for smaller government than you are because you guys want the police state. You guys want the CIA. I want the CIA gone. I want our police force limited. I want our military industrial complex shrunken. You are the big government authoritarian. And now you have liberals who now the CIA operatives. So now my old talking point, I had to start adjusting. Because now we got the conservatives are starting to call CIA out more. If you look on Twitter, no liberal blue checks are talking about the story. It's a ton of conservatives like, yeah, about the CIA. I'm fucking like, what the fuck happened? So now I'm talking to liberals, and liberals like say that China and Russia is the authoritarian countries. You guys are for the CIA that is illegally spying on citizens and has done countless criminal acts. You guys have no right to judge anyone. Right. And that's the messaging that I don't have to use MAGA communist bullshit, right? You appeal to people with innate knowledge and understanding that if you actually for liberty, if you're actually for justice, if you're actually for small government, you should be on my faction, not the fake right populists, my faction. We may disagree with something on economics, but we're trying to abolish the police. We're trying to abolish the CIA. We're trying to abolish the FBI. We're trying to get rid of the TSA.
We're anti-bootlicker
of the working class. And that's why they're terrified of us. That's my last bit.
They're only terrified because these are the things that keep up white supremacy. And they, like I said before, these, even though they don't get every drop from the bosom of white supremacy, they still get a lick of it. They still get to quench their thirst from here to there. And they feel like if we was to take this away, then we're going after them. We're going at, it's kind of funny, but it's sad at the same time because they actually thinking that, people can live and sustain this way of life. Like, no, it shouldn't be like this. But a lot of working class people and a lot of white people, I should say, are scared to you know what I'm saying, or the change of power. Mm-hmm. They really are.
You know what? It just reminds me. I think I'm gonna try to, sit down and watch that JFK movie that came out in '91. Because it actually alludes to that the government actually having, well, now we know as a fact, but how the government was alluded to that the government actually was the ones who murdered JFK, and it was done by Roger Stone. I'm thinking about doing that and watching that myself because it's kind of funny that a movie came out in '91 talking about this. And they were basically slandered and saying, nah, it's just conspiracy. When you have Jim Garrison, Kevin Costner, Gary Oldman, Tommy Lee Jones, Donald Sutherland, and John Candy in the cast, I'm like, that's a pretty big cast. So, I mean, for that, and then to be just downplayed, there had to be some facts in there too. So, that's something I'm thinking about doing. I wish I could just do like a reaction, like online or something. I'm thinking maybe I can do it on my Patreon. I don't know. Just do a reaction to the entire movie.
So
I'll pass to you, CJ. We're gonna have Aaron Good on next month, and maybe in like 2 weeks, and he's gonna help break this down because he was talking to me about this on our show last week, and he wrote books and he got a lot of expertise on the CIA. So And if in a few weeks we're gonna have Aaron on and we're gonna digest everything that was just released. But go ahead, CJ. I'll pass to you. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, so I have this article and a video to show to end the segment. JFK experts call out CIA for continuing to withhold documents. So although these documents were let release, Jefferson Morley of JFK Facts is taking the government to court after the CIA refused to release 4,000 more documents. So let me just give you the facts. It starts out here. Is taking the government to court after the CIA refused to release 4,000 documents about the JFK assassination findings. So this is what people don't need to understand about why this is getting released. In 1992, Congress passed a mandate that all documents around the assassination be released by October 2017. But when former President Donald Trump was in office and the time came to release all of them, he didn't. President Biden had released a whopping 13,000, but the CIA is still refusing to turn over the remaining 4,000 documents. So there's still more information, even though we know
they've been doing this for
Realize-
years.
there's still
guys.
more information.
So I'm pretty sure it's more
Dude.
hits. I'm pretty sure JFK is just a cherry on top, but just like a lot of assassinations, more people go down than we actually see. More people that didn't get the spotlight, you know, and it takes steps to actually get there, you know, and make sure that they covered up their tracks for this long. They even had to probably kill some CIA agents to keep to keep that
to
on the
keep
low
this under wraps. That is a good point.
as they can.
Because there probably some CIA agents was like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? So many years, somebody's gonna turn. Somebody's gonna turn. So it'll be curious to me to know how some other CIA agents who were alive at that time died. Maybe that would be something interesting to show. Now, let's just show this as the closeout. This is Douglas Valentine. If you don't know, we did a segment on this a long time ago. But here it's called The Origins of the CIA, featuring Amy Martin and Douglas Valentine. And it's part of the propaganda. This is one of the episodes of the propaganda report. I think this was the first episode of the propaganda report. And then he's the author of The CIA as Organized Crime, and that's Douglas Valentine. He's the one that I found that has the most information about the CIA and what we need to understand about the CIA. Do we understand? Nobody has jurisdiction over them. It is written into our law, and that's what Douglas speaks to here.
It's taken me 30 years of study without myself being a CIA officer to try to understand how the CIA operates. You have to read dozens and dozens of books. I mean, it takes years of study to understand how the CIA operates. So it's virtually impossible to explain it in a few minutes. But they do. The CIA is organized in a couple of, in a particular way that allows it to do the things that it does. First of all, it operates outside the laws of the United States. The Congress has given the CIA the right to commit crimes in foreign countries and also not to be prosecuted for those crimes in the United States. So the entire judicial system in the United States has been structured to allow the CIA to do these things. It's not that a lot of people frequently refer to the CIA as somehow being a rogue agency or doing things without approval. But the CIA, everything it does is approved by Congress and the executive and the Supreme Court. It has the complete backing of the three branches of the United States government. No law enforcement branch in the United States, including the FBI, can prosecute the CIA for any crimes that it has committed. So you have to understand what the CIA's mandate is. It is given a mandate to do these things. It is allowed to do these things. You just can't know about the things that it does.
Yeah, so we can end it there unless you had a few comments on this video, because I know you've seen it several times. All of us have seen that video. many times, but I think we can close the segment unless you had a couple comments, fellas.
Yeah, there's a couple of comments, a couple of super chats actually that we can
Yeah,
get
go
to.
ahead, sir.
So I'm not sure if you guys covered this one. Did we cover this one?
Yeah, I think we did that one.
Oh,
We
okay.
did that one.
Okay.
We lost.
Let's see. Oh, we did this one too. Right. Okay. This one is Dwayne says Malcolm X said it best after JFK was killed, and he knew it was on an inside job. The chickens always come
Yeah.
home to roost.
Yeah.
I remember that.
He got in
Right?
big trouble because of that comment, and like in the public eye, like he got a lot of backlash because he said that during the time.
Because people they don't want to deal with reality that our government
No.
is just monsters and
No.
murderers. Like, who got the fucking balls to kill an American president? I don't give a fuck what type of terrorist you are. And
Yeah.
and even back then, we didn't have the technology and the cameras that we did back then, but they made sure that blocks was cleared out. You know, people had people in their apartments, if you can oversee the president from certain angles or whatever. They made sure that the motherfucker was gonna survive. You know, we even had, there is nobody with more to gain and more to lose than the CIA with JFK either dying or being alive. And I don't see him having an enemy that dumb to just go out and assassinate him, knowing that he's worth more than alive. If you can get, like, he was in the mafia, he was in that. If these people was so close to the president of the United States that you had connections and all kind of shit that you are, I would just keep him alive. I don't get that that theory just don't stick with me, because people owe me money right now. I'm not about to just go fucking end their life and just be like, oh, well, pay me next time. You better pay me on time. Like, no.
Maybe it's something worth more than money.
Yeah, control.
You know,
fear.
So, yeah. The next one is, just as others have stated, JFK wanted to end Vietnam War and was making moves to actually do it with legislation. Thank you so very much for that. Dwayne,
I know
also,
you want to abolish the CIA as well. People literally think it's a coincidence that former CIA people like George Bush Sr. becomes the president of the United States. You guys fucking kidding me? Look at all the former CIA operatives that will later get the highest positions in government.
Yeah.
You guys think that's a coincidence? They run this motherfucker. And there was a lot of good writing about the CIA coup of the 70s and 80s, which led to George Bush Sr. becoming president. But I gotta do a stream on that. I gotta do a segment on that. But go ahead, Go ahead, JB.
Okay, so the next one is, JFK wanted to end the Cold War. Read Mark Lane's The Last Word, My Indictment of the CIA and the Murder of JFK, and James W. Douglas, JFK and the Unspeakable. It was the CIA. Also, thank you, Landrew, for the generous super chat. Says the Oliver Stone documentary is the final word on JFK assassination. Yeah, I really should watch that movie.
It's a long movie. It is long, but it's good. I mean, if you're a movie person, it's good. It's worth the watch.
I watched Malcolm X, and I didn't realize it was 3 hours, but it was good.
That's my favorite movie all time. Is
really?
Malcolm X.
Yeah, I was shedding tears at the end. But
I got mad. That radicalized me instantly. I walked out of that thing. I was ready to whoop some white people's ass. I was like, ain't that white person mess with me. I'm dead serious. That's the feeling I got. I was that hyped about shit. I was like, this shit is fucking ridiculous. That was a movie that radicalized me to be left, even to be like radical, was that movie. So
yeah. Thank you, Lisa. Says the scariest movie I ever saw was JFK. That's interesting. Wow. That is interesting. Yeah. So thank you also very much. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can I just quickly mention? I saw something. This is not even a segment. I'll just quickly mention this. Zelensky is going to be in DC tomorrow. It would be a shame if there was a massive spontaneous protest, anti-war protest that had been planned because Zelensky is going to Washington D.C. I'm just saying it would be a shame if that was going to happen here. Hopefully that's the case, man. Hopefully that's the case. But anyway,
Somebody, we got some DC people that might be doing, but let's do quick announcements and then let's get to the Twitter file story. Twitter file a story before because that's one of the main stories we got to cover before we're out. We're at 295 likes, so we got to get that number up. Let's get that to 350. That's like 45 or 55 likes, so if 55 more people can like the stream. Rome, Nick, and JB, this is the count where we're at when we started, 27,167. And this is where I was talking like 20% of the people who watch us aren't even subscribers. That's consistently 20%. So if those people just subscribed, our subscriber count would jump. So we know y'all here, Sam Cedar and Jank. We know y'all watching. It's just not subscribing. David Sirota and Marion Williamson. I'm just joking. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, but let's quickly, unless you see some comments, go ahead.
I have one more thing I wanted to say about that JFK being the scariest movie, because what happens when you know what I'm saying, when you go to the movies and you like, oh, it's just scary movies based on a true story, and then it's a different feeling. What happens when those monsters are real? What happens when the monsters control your world?
That's true.
With impunity, like, yes. So it could get scary watching it with the radical mindset, knowing like, holy fuck, these people are reckless, are ruthless, and
I think that's what makes it scarier. It's because, like, think about horror movies. Then when thrillers came out, like a Scream, when it was like, it was just a regular person killing, it was like, man, that's kind of scarier than this other shit where I know, nigga, when I go to dreams, I'm not going to have somebody killing me. That's kind of like too far off, but this other, so it's like, if it's closer to reality, I do think it makes it a lot more scarier. Anybody else want to chime in before we get here? Now, I got my say, this Twitter part 7, they got some interesting shit here, and it goes with abolish FBI that Nick was just talking about. Go ahead, Rome. I can't see who was talking, but whoever was talking. Okay. Let's get here. First off, did either of you or any of you read this at all already?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I saw the first part. I haven't seen the rest because yesterday I was out of sorts, so I wasn't able to read it.
Absolutely. All right, so we're just like the last one, Nick. We're not reading all of it. Maybe read like 10 or 12 of the posts. So Twitter files part 7, the FBI and the Hunter Biden laptop. Let me make this a little bit bigger for those seeing impaired like myself. And let me throw that up there just for Aaron, because I know we're going to cut this. I'm pretty sure we're going to cut this, Aaron. So let's begin. The FBI and the Hunter Biden laptop. How the FBI and intelligence community discredit factual information about Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings, both after and before the New York Post revealed the contents of his laptop on October 14, 2020. In Twitter files number 6, we saw the FBI relentlessly seek to exercise influence over Twitter, including over its content, its users, and data. Now, let me pause here because I want to speak to the point that Nick spoke to about the CIA and the FBI. Are these agencies now only here to keep us in line for capitalists? Like, just think about the story, like this story about the FBI, and they're trying to keep us in line about war and all this stuff was happening. And then the previous story of what the CIA, trying, like, are these institutions, Nick, Rome, CJ, Nick, Rome, JB, are these institutions like just here just to serve capital, and they don't really have any other thing that they're here doing?
Yeah, that's why you see only capitalists and the institutionalists, they will defend them. So even among the most radical, even farthest left reach of Congress, the thought of abolishing the CIA is an insane proposition, right? You have AOC, Bernie and the squad, who've been propping up intelligence agencies and defending them and saying they should be go after Trump more. You don't see anyone in Congress call for this because they know the role that they serve, and that is the role of capital and to control the populace. But go ahead, CJ.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unless JB was going to chime in. Go ahead, JB.
Yeah. To answer your question, I'm with Reality Revolution. Yeah. yeah. I mean, really, is there any? Yeah, I'm gonna give her the last word on that one. And by the way, she also left a super chat. Thank you. They're killing us literally. Yeah. You get the last word on that one. That's all I got to say.
All right. So let me get back. Let me know. I'm not seeing you, so you got to let me know verbally.
The
when
best
you
thing
stop.
about this part is this is something that we kind of already inherently knew as well. The intelligence agencies was embedded with big tech, and I'm glad that once again this is be on record for the people who need to see this on paper and admit it, right? So go ahead, CJ.
Absolutely. In Twitter Files number 7, we present evidence pointing to an organized effort by representatives of the intelligence community, IC, that's going forward, aimed at senior executives at news and social media companies to discredit leaked information about Hunter Biden before and after it was published. The story began in December 2019 when a Delaware computer store owner named John Paul, with JP going forward, Mac Isaac contacts the FBI about a laptop that Hunter Biden had left him. On December 9, 2019, the FBI issues a subpoena for it and takes Hunter Biden's laptop. And that is the subpoena receipts here. By August 2020, Mac Isaac still had not heard back from the FBI, even though he had discovered evidence of criminal activity. And so he emails Rudy Giuliani, who was under federal FBI surveillance at the time. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
In early October, Giuliani gives it to the Post. So Giuliani is the one who leaks it to the Post. He's under FBI surveillance. So just keeping everybody understand. Oh, I'm sorry. Here is the thing, and then the actual Post article. The title, if you want to look it up, Smoking Gun Email Reveals How Hunter Biden Introduced Ukrainian. Now we're on number... Okay, so shortly before 7 p.m. on... Wait a minute. Did I get off track here? Am I still... Okay, yeah. Shortly before 7 p.m. Eastern on October 13th, Hunter Biden's lawyer, George M., emails JP Mac Isaac. Hunter and M., his lawyer, had just learned from the New York Post that its story about the laptop would be published the next day. So this is them learning that it's going to be published the next day. And they blacked out the email address. Subject, George, contact information, the lawyer's contact information. John Paul, thank you for speaking with me tonight. As I indicated, I am a lawyer for Hunter Biden, and I also appreciate you reviewing your records on this matter. So they're just showing you, and then, the name of the lawyer's office. So now we're on number 7 of the thread. At 9:22 p.m. Eastern, FBI agents Elvis Chan sends 10 documents to Twitter, then head of security, site security, Ural Roth, through teleporter, a one-way communication channel from the FBI to Twitter. They got a special thing, teleporter, a one-way communication channel. let's pause here. Why is it so important, the FBI, to get ahead of tweets? Regular people talking about issues. That is such a
because
telling
they
thing
see
to me. Go ahead. Go ahead.
they see, you know, the left movement is growing and growing, and not even just the left, just people speaking out against the government, period. And they really want to know where we are coming from to prepare against against us, like, you know, Biden putting 100,000 new cops, 80,000 new IRS agents, and watching us for $600 wire transfers, shit like that. They got to stay on top of this because they know that we're going through hell. You know, they know that 60% of the people are living paycheck to paycheck. They know that there will be an uprising, and if they don't get ahead of it, they won't be able to control it, or at least if they can control us on the ground, they can't at least be able to hit our minds first and be like, oh,
Yeah, that's a good point by Rome, because there are a lot of people, especially reformists, that are still under the delusion of thinking that capital will allow us to reform it without any struggle, right? Capital will not concede anything without struggle. So as we continue to have a more militarized working class, you're going to see intelligence agencies do stuff like this. You're going to see police budgets start to explode. You're going to see your rights start to erode. You're going to see lawmakers take away your right to protest. You're going to see more violent acts when people protest, like, I don't know, shooting a metal encoded bullet that they call a rubber bullet into people's eyes, using tear gas, which is a war crime on people, that cause long-term damage to people who have asthma and other respiratory elements, which after COVID-19 has been exposed. A lot of people had comorbidities like that. Mm-hmm. They are susceptible to tear gas. You have women who was pregnant, who lost their children because of that. And as the American people get more radicalized, you're going to see more of this. Even on stuff you consider to be a small thing, like the FBI monitoring Twitter, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, Mastermind Hour it made me think. He said, "No way, Elvis Chan is his real name." Number one, that's probably true. That what you're saying. Number two, Elvis Chan. That sounds like a porn star name to me. But I knew that. I knew that was gonna make. I just know it was gonna make y'all laugh. But the whole thing is, like, yes, it is within their best interest, because the more mass of people who know the truth, the worse it is for those who are at the top. This is why they need to get ahead of it quickly, because the more people know, the more outrage there is, the more people will get into the streets and actually want to change things. So they actually need to get ahead of it if they want to survive.
They even have, like what Nick said about the rubber bullets and whatnot. I remember when the Black Lives Matter protest was going on, and this one lady was just walking from the grocery store and get her eyeball shot out her fucking skull. Now she's like, I wasn't even a part of this. You know, she liked the police and shit like that, but they accidentally turn people radical. They are accidentally radicalizing people and their whole families. Can you imagine being a thin blue line family and your daughter come home without a fucking eye in her fucking skull, and you ask your daughter, what the hell happened? Did them nigger bulls get you? No, it was the police. It was the what? So yes, they have to be on top of everybody, on everything, because it's in their best. Like, it's 300 million people in America, man. It's a lot of people, and if just too many of us get, you know, the word or the boss to want to overthrow them, it could be done. And they would do whatever it takes to stop that. They take out the leaders. They try to scare you, push some more drugs to your neighborhoods. Send one of them niggas in your hood to shoot your ass, but they will try to stop
you. So I'm not gonna reread this, but I just want to make sure people are following the story. So George M. is Hunter Biden's lawyer. Hunter Biden's lawyer contacts John Paul. John Paul is the one who had the laptop that Hunter Biden left. So understand, he was that high. He left his laptop. He never went back and got it. And I'm just keeping people honest with it. And then Elvis Chen is the FBI agent who contacted the head of Twitter, and this is the contact, and he transmitted some information, and he just said, hey, heads up, I will be sending a teleporter link for you to download 10 documents. It's not spam. Think about that, because you see it. What is this? This is some tabloid. It's not spam. Please confirm receipt when you got it. And then your Roth responds back, received and download. Thanks. So now let's continue. The next day, October 14th, the New York Post runs its explosive story revealing the business dealings of President Joe Biden's son, Hunter. Every single fact in it was accurate. That's what they say about this story, right? He says it. Now, number 9, and yet...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I remember Joe Biden holding back some money, saying he was going to hold back some money for some type of deal that was going on with Ukraine.
With Ukraine, I remember that too.
Yeah, and this is when Hunter was out there and whatnot. But yeah, it all comes together, and I believe that that story actually mentioned Biden blackmailing them, basically saying, "Do what I say, or this money get withheld." But yeah,
do y'all think there's some sort of connection or something that could come out of Hunter Biden being connected to the Ukraine war even today?
Hell yeah.
Like, that seems like he was getting paid. Like, you know how they're not trying to now paint that Ukraine is not the most corrupt country. So we think the most corrupt country just got Hunter Biden, and that was on the up. They corrupt everywhere else except for this part. Like, it does that to me doesn't ring true.
And,
but
like, I don't know if everybody forgot about the bio labs, but I believe Hunter Biden had something to do with the bio labs. A lot of them companies that was out there, a lot of money that was being funneled out there. So yeah, I can see. I'm pretty sure we can connect. And this is why Joe Biden, of all people, is pushing these people to go to war and kill themselves for him more than anything.
So I want
some news that we don't know. Rome, have you read this Twitter thing already?
Oh no.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you was just telling us what's going on.
So FYI, we definitely gotta break down the next Twitter files, part 8. We're on part 7 now. I saw part 8 just dropped.
Oh my lord!
And you guys know, part 8 is actually what I've been waiting for. And it says how Twitter quietly aided the Pentagon covert online psyop camp. So this is the one I've been waiting for. And I see one that popped up. I saw Caitlin Johnstone retweet this one out, and it highlighted how Twitter was sent the list by U.S. Central Command, and they boosted these Arab accounts that were promoting anti-Iran and other U.S. friendly propaganda. Like, now, so the next Twitter files, I can't wait to go through this one. But anyway, let's get this one.
This is getting good. This is getting good, but they still on the pseudo left is trying to act like this is a nothing burger. They're still trying to act like this is a nothing burger.
So Caitlin replied to that one and said, "Hi, this is the people who try to pretend this is a nothing burger. Like this, the next one on the Pentagon is gonna be interesting to go through."
This sounds like they're ramping up. It sounds like they're ramping up. So, but let's continue. So, and yet within hours, Twitter and other social media companies censored the New York Post article, preventing it from spreading. More importantly, undermining its credibility in the minds of many Americans. Now, let me read because we keep stopping. Because they knew about the story, Twitter, and FBI had contacted them before it actually dropped. So this shenanigans here, let's see if he explains it. Why is that? What exactly happened? On December 2nd, Matt Taibbi described the debate inside Twitter over its discussion to censor a wholly accurate article. Since then, we have discovered new information that points to an organized effort by the intel community to influence Twitter and other platforms. And then that's the receipt to go back if you want to go see that. Now, 11. First, that was 10. This is 11. First, it's important to understand that Hunter Biden earned tens of millions. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Tens of millions of dollars in contracts with foreign businesses, including ones linked to China's government, for which Hunter offered no real work. Here's an overview by investigative journalist Peter. I don't know how to say his name, so
Schwarzizer.
Schwarzizer. And then we're not going to listen to it. It's 10 minutes long, but you can go to this file and listen to it. And number 12. And yet, during all of 2020, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies repeatedly primed Ewell Ross to dismiss reports of Hunter Biden's laptop as a Russian hack and leak operation.
See, now that's the important part.
They know they're gonna
that's what was used by Twitter and mainstream media sources to get this story censored on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Because they did say, "Oh, this goes against our hacked info policy," even though they literally made that claim up as shown here. So out of all this, I think this is probably the biggest smoking gun, important part to take away. And you ask yourself why they were so desperate to censor this story, because you see real corruption. Hunter Biden taking his money, even though not doing his work. He's the son of the vice president. This is real corruption that people have a vested interest in hiding. But go ahead, CJ.
And it's not even just about Hunter Biden. This shit always goes back to the people that actually controls the government, the FBI, the CIA. This is why they're trying to cover this up, because if this can of worms get open, then we're gonna see it all for what it is.
That's what I was saying. Like something like, now think, let's pause here just for a brief moment if you want to chime in on this idea. Now, remember what they said about Donald Trump? Donald Trump, look at him. He's using the GOJ to do his personal work. How is this not using the FBI to do your personal work for yourself? How is this not the same thing?
It's all a projection, CJ. Like, your political enemies are doing what you're doing.
Yes. So now this is from a sworn declaration by Roth given December 20th, and this is that sworn declaration here, and you can click on the link to see the whole thing. 13. We'll maybe read maybe 2 or 3 more. They did the same to Facebook, according
of course.
Yeah, and we know this part. According to CEO Mark Zuckerberg, quote, "The FBI basically came to us and was like, hey, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in 2016 next election. They're about to be some kind of dump similar to that." End quote. Now think about this. Now let's say that big tech isn't in on it. Let's say they are just naively following the law and order people supposed to be just and they're like, what? Russian information? What? Okay, we'll
and they don't want to fuck their government contracts up. And CJ, that's a good point. They don't want to fuck their government contracts up. So it's not like they're not even 100% complicit. They just hear the government. They say, "Hey, yo, take this shit down." They're like, they know they benefit from government contracts, and the fact they don't have tight regulations. Like if they did go against the government, all of a sudden you got more tighter regulations. So hell, a lot of them probably like, "Oh shit, FBI said take it down, we're taking it down." No question. They're not trying to be an investigative reporter. They don't care about. They're not being an activist. They don't care about why they asking them to do it. They just fucking do it. They don't give a fuck.
That sounds like Ryan Graham. That sounds like Ryan Graham. Were you gonna say something, Rome? It seemed like you were gonna chime in about something.
Oh, damn, what was I about to say?
You forgot. You can stop me if just say something because I can't see nobody. I'll continue. 14. Where the FBI warning of a Russian hack and leak operation relating to Hunter Biden based on any new intel? No, they weren't. Let me say that again. Were the FBI warnings of a Russian hack and leak operation relating to the Hunter Biden based on any new intel? It was not, like you alluded to already, Nick. No, they weren't. Quote, "Through our investigation, we did not see any similar competing intrusions to what had happened in 2016," admitted FBI agent Elvis Chan in November, and that's the receipt there.
What I wanted to say was about the lizard man, Mark Zuckerberg. He he's telling half truths because he's afraid. You know, he's like, okay, well, I'm obviously caught. You know what I'm saying? We can't get out of this. I can't snitch on the FBI. So what I'm gonna say is I'm not gonna say that the FBI paid me to basically throw shit over this story. I'm gonna be like, oh well, they told us to look out, and that's what we did. We just took the word of the fucking FBI. You know, the trusty word of the FBI.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Number 15. Indeed, Twitter executives repeatedly reported very little Russian activity. And here's an example. On the 24th, September 24, 2020, Twitter told FBI it had removed 345 largely inactive accounts linked to previously coordinated Russian hacking attempts. They had little reach or low follower accounts.
So they watching your ass.
Yeah,
And that's
so,
when
when
you had liberals trying to pretend. That's why the argument about Russiagate never made any sense, because they said, "Oh my God, Russia had all these social media Russian accounts," and then people look into it like the accounts had like 12 followers.
Yeah,
They were supposed to posts that no one enriched nobody. And the argument that they made was that the Russian social media activities somehow counteracted the billions of dollars that was spent during the election cycle. So despite the DNC and their media allies spending billions of dollars of ads, some random social media accounts ran by Russians interfere with the elections. Does that even make sense? That's the narrative they want us to believe. But go ahead.
Hey guys, remember when some of us were being accused of being a Russian agent?
Dude, they call me a Russian literally until I use my
Russian
real
bot.
picture.
That was
agree
probably
with
the
you.
most used phrase on Twitter during that year. Russian, you're a Russian bot.
Yeah, it's almost like, yeah, I am. I'm trying to do something against moose and squirrel. It's it's like
JB, you
it's
always have
like
the best voices and stories and analogies.
It's like I'm
I
Boris
love 'em.
and Sammy's Natasha, and we're trying to, undermine Bullwinkle and Rocky. Like, what the hell are you guys talking about? I'm like, what am I, a chocolate Russian? Do you guys ever see those?
If Russia was paying us, we wouldn't be reporting from America. We would be
Right.
fuck out of here.
But we will Rome, Nick, and JB. We'll end on 18. So 3 more. In fact, Twitter debunked false claims by journalists of foreign influence on its platform. Quote, we haven't seen any evidence to support that claim by, and they're talking about somebody, NBC News, of foreign controlled bots. Quote, our review thus far shows a small-scale domestic troll effort. So the Russiagate, this all this going, there's like, nah, that's not really going on. And then they show the articles here. 17. After FBI asked a WAPO story on alleged foreign influence in a pro-Trump tweet, Twitter's Roth says, quote, the article makes a lot of insinuations, but we saw no evidence that was the case here, and in fact, a lot of strong evidence pointing to other direction. Here's the last one. It's not the first time that Twitter's Roth had pushed back against FBI. In January 2020, Ross resisted FBI efforts to get Twitter to share data outside of the normal search warrant process. Why is the FBI trying to get data outside of the normal search warrant process? Why is a Law and Order, I'm standing within the lines, superhero trying to do something out of bounds of the line? So that's where we can start. Any last sort of thoughts?
Can you really trust the proletariat as a evil as a part of the evil empire? Can you really trust the proletariat or what they're saying? Like, I know conservatives that don't like OG conservatives, the real rednecks that's anti-government, anti-war and stuff like that. Those people are still, very much against the CIA, very much against the FBI, et cetera, et cetera. Why wouldn't you look at these people? And now they trying to pull information like looking at our inboxes, DMs. We saw that on the first Twitter file that they had access to our DMs. So ain't no telling what they have seen. Ain't no telling what movements is already infiltrated. And that's why people mad at me. Some people got mad at me because I said I'm doing background checks for the care party. I was like, yeah, you out. Like, there's no.
Yeah, not the kind of background checks that people are normal about. Not those background checks. It's different. Go ahead, Nick.
I want to. I have one last quick story. A funny story that we can end on. Shouldn't be too long. We had conversations about effective leaders, effective left leaders, and I did reporting on AOC's approval ratings before, and I saw this. And how could this possibly be when you have someone who's running on popular policy ideas?
Damn.
Like you apparently support Medicare for all. You support these popular ideas, but somehow you are literally more unpopular than Hillary Clinton. You guys see AOC. AOC literally less popular than Hillary Clinton. So, CJ, we had the conversation before. It made no sense, the political moves that they're making. So this is the poll that is taken post-railroad strike, right?
Damn.
So after the railroad strike, after the squad went full warmongering and war enabling, they completely lost all their support. The only people that support them are that very small percent of liberals who are attached to the Democratic Party, the Emma Viglins, right? And people like those. That's a very small percent. So no matter if you guys think we're too harsh on these people or not, it's just a fact. It's just a fact that AOC and the squad is ineffective leftist leaders. Despite all the criticism of Bernie Sanders, at least Bernie Sanders has been one of the most popular senators in recent U.S. history. And if you look at his polling, this is the first time I ever seen Bernie Sanders underwater. Have you guys seen this? Have you guys ever seen Bernie at -1? I've never seen it. Why you guys think this is? Because Bernie Sanders became just a Democratic Party Joe Biden sheepdog, and they are going down with the ship.
And Ryan Grimm, this is why Ryan Grimm is out doing what he's doing. He's trying to affect these numbers. Ryan Grimm's job is to do that. Go ahead, Ron.
I'm pretty sure these numbers are way worse in reality.
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask everybody in the chats: have you got polled? Have you ever been polled for any of these questions? Like for any of these people, your senator have you ever been polled for their popularity? No. So I'm pretty sure if they was to get people, if they was actually poll people from their Twitter, their Facebook, cell phone numbers, then I'm pretty sure those numbers will be way underwater. But then, yeah, so it's all propaganda. These people are way more unpopular than what they perceive to be. You know.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I wanted to share this. Don't let the people gaslighting you trick you. Don't let the Ryan Grimm trick you. Don't let the G-Hive and all these fucking Democratic Party operatives trick you. AOC and Democratic Party sellouts, the American people see through these people. And without doubt, these numbers are lower when you talk to working class young people, because these are the numbers when they mostly poll wealthy boomers and older Gen X people. So that's a good point made by Rome. So we're going to do a short segment so they can kick and scream at RBN coverage all they want, but it's just a fact that because of your guys openly, blatantly selling out the working class to the Democratic Party, you see Sanders now net unfavorable, which is like when I used to watch these polls all the time as an advocate for someone who used to advocate Bernie. Bernie used to always be like +5, +10 in these polls, and then now he slipped because people see that he's not the independent that he used to do a better job pretending he was. At least in my opinion. Like if you want to make the argument that Bernie always been a sellout, I would argue that at least he was like he at least hit it better. Now we don't even give a fuck. He openly selling out now.
Yep.
I might be wrong on that. That's my take. But anyway, I don't know if you guys have
I
any
mean,
other
shit.
comments.
No, you're not wrong, man. Look at these polls. AOC only been in office not even 10% of Bernie Sanders' career. She's supposed to be in her prime as a progressive politician. There's no way she should be less popular than Hillary Clinton.
Even with all criticism, the fact that AOC should be out there rallying support for Medicare for all. She should be out there doing marches and attending protests to end the wars. So no, if you're one of the people, I see AOC fans make this excuse all the time. Well, you got the right-wing media apparatus, you got the corporate media that's unfair to her. What if AOC didn't incessantly tweet about January 6th all the fucking time? What if she didn't start random irrelevant Twitter beefs with Ted Cruz all the time? So yes, AOC does get a lot of negative corporate news coverage, but she plays in the red-blue culture war game. If you are an elected congressional official, knowing that the entire Washington establishment is against you, you should be rallying only your proletariat support. You should be seen doing nothing other than supporting unions, nothing other than marching for people. Then what can they attack you on? Mm-hmm. Instead, the right wing can attack you for wearing the tax the rich dress at the Met Gala. So why is the right wing able to attack you? CJ, imagine there was a Fred Hampton like politician. What tax could they really use that land? Imagine in Rome with the elected official doing what he's doing. Could they really attack him and try to approve right the way they do AOC? They don't do a lot of low shit, but it's only her being a failure as a left leader, giving them the openings, playing the two-party duopoly game where you're supposed to be a militant, Marxist, working-class politician. Mm-hmm. Anyway, sorry, that's my last thought. This is a quick story. I just want to give you guys. I literally saw that while we was covering some other story. I want to get you guys thoughts on that. AOC less popular than Hillary Clinton. She's coming for that title, Nancy. She's coming because this number. I'm gonna put it one more time. So she haven't touched Nancy yet. Nancy, Nancy's the dislike queen, right? Cuomo not elected official anymore. So Pelosi, you better retire soon because AOC coming for that crown. Like she busts that railroad straight. You never know how low she's gonna sink to get that title. It's like she's trying, right?
How low can you go?
Trying.
What she was like 12% last time we did this story.
Especially protests.
She's getting worse.
She came out.
Ryan's not a good advocate. He can't save this. He can't save this sinking ship. He's not that good of an advocate. So, all right. So I got to get going. I don't know if you guys can stay. I got to get going. So, Rome, JB, Nick, you want to say what's going on? We can start with JB. What's going on with you? When can we see you? When we're gonna see you again?
Sure. Can we start off with covering some of these super chats really quick?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Do that. Okay.
So this one is from Macau Mark. Thank you for the super chat. Says 10% for the big guy. Me? Thank you.
Shit. I hope you're not the big guy, motherfucker.
Susan Cahill, thank you so much. Says all their dealings in Ukraine were just using their landscape to do anything and everything. It's the biggest use ever with no concern about people. Yep. Thank you so much. Smoky Sally, I like that name. Smoky Sally says there were emails that bioweapons lab Metabiota in Ukraine was connected to Burisma oil company in Ukraine.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning earlier about this. This goes deep. Like, Hunter was connected to the biolabs, Joe Biden. And then when the war first popped off, remember they was like, what? You guys are insane. There's no freaking biolabs. Why would we have biolabs across the ocean? Okay, look, there's a couple of biolabs. He didn't want you guys to know.
Yeah. And then the last one from Smokey Sally says, Hunter, big money from Burisma in the funding for Biolab. So thank you so very much for that as well.
So, Jay, what you got coming on your show? What you got coming up?
So on my channel next week, I will have Awkward on to talk about his rise. Yeah, we're going to be talking about his career as a rap artist as well as his activism and 10 demands. We're going to be talking about the knowledge that he has about the carceral state and why we should defund the police on the road to abolition. So I'm actually pretty excited to have a conversation with him. So I'm going to be doing that, as well as I'll be covering some news topics on the JB show soon. And then hopefully we'll have some very interesting content for you guys on the Sabby and JB show this Thursday. Stay tuned. Did you like the stream yet? Hold up.
The stream people. Go ahead.
Did y'all subscribe? I'm just checking.
So I have Q Anthony and Mene join us on Friday.
Go ahead, Nick.
No Saturday show. We're taking Christmas Eve off. But Q will join us on Friday. That's all.
You should have some clips. Some clips will be uploaded for those that may want to watch some. Maybe one or two clippers be uploaded. So.
Yeah, but hopefully you guys will enjoy the clips. Like, share, subscribe, everyone. That's all I have. CJ, Rome.
Let me shout out somebody else sent me some damn money. Christian, thank you for the $20. Y'all don't have to send me money right now because I'm not fundraising for a nice little minute. So I might be sending you that money back. So but same shit going on. I got the library coming up. I got, trying to get everything ready for the garden. I think I'll be ready to do some guerrilla gardening around next year. We're gonna be going around planting fruit and nut trees throughout the city. Try to bring some more shade and trying to clean our air out there and get the people something to eat, homeless people something to eat, the animals something to eat. Just do something good for the community. That's about it right now. I'm gonna be laser focused on this library, so I'm gonna be doing some updates on RBN about the library. Maybe gonna probably fix a couple of things on live while we talk to you guys, so we can see the progress. But that's all I got.
Yeah, just one more super chat before. Thanks to Neo's algorithm says, thanks for checking out my content, JB, and happy holidays to the RBN family. Thank you so much, and happy holidays to you as well. All right.
When I heard about Sacramento, I was like, damn, these brothers are bad. They're here up in Sacramento in the capital, packing.
The boldness, the courageousness about it, the arrogance of it. That put a whole new face on things. I said, man, I want to be a part of this.
Movement was basically a Southern movement. So when you had an organization like the Panthers, who were taking on things like housing and welfare and health, that was stuff that people in the North could relate to and rally behind.
Our attack was not only against white supremacy, but it was also about capitalism. We actually thought that the way in which capitalism created a working class that was kept absolutely destitute, that was wrong.
So we took the position that in order for us to be free, that system had to be dismantled. We could not be free in a system that had oppressed us in the first place.